Well, happy belated Lancashire Day for yesterday. And what a way to mark it, with the Sale Sharks kicking back off this block of the Gallagher PREM, and an early error from a man you'd least expect it from, Henry Slade, with frosty fingertips up north.
It is a bit colder up here. Poor Henry Slade, not the start him or his team would have wanted. Happy Lancashire Day. Is there a happy Lancashire Day, mate?
Stability. Stability.
I have to say it's the first I've celebrated, Danny, but I'm enjoying myself so far.
It's the wrong side, mate. It's the wrong side. But here we go, Sale with a perfect start. That's what you want to say. Get into the game early, great kickoff, great chase, try and force an error. And the errors come from one of the best players out there tonight in Henry Slade. But Sale with a fantastic opportunity, left-hand side scrum, perfect. Might get the 9 running, may get Marcy White over Lennicky Tower, Harvey Skinner early doors. Try and get this big Sale pack round the corner and into this Exeter team. Penalty.
Well, no opportunity, and raucous reaction led by the monster that is Josefa Scott, all 145 kilos of him.
He lets go of the binder, goes across.
And there is some concern here as Asharapoku Fajor has come out on the wrong side of that clinch. Speaking to Alex Sanderson just in the bowels of this stadium beforehand, he really highlighted that this game is going to be won and lost with the physical confrontation, that yes, there are gifts out in the back line of both these sides, but really it is old-fashioned front up. Who can get that physical ascendancy tonight?
Without a doubt, and Asharapoku Fajor would be one of those guys that Alex Sanderson would have wanted 60, 70 minutes out of him tonight to really take it to this Exeter team. We're hopeful that he's going to shake off this earlier injury. It doesn't look great at the minute. He's still sat down, get with the medics around him, but he's got some great people around him. Luke Cowan-Dickey, one of the very best hookers in the world. Cy McIntyre, as you mentioned, seasoned prop, seasoned veteran in this league. Great bloke off the pitch, so I'm so glad he got that moment to run out on the 100th cap. You have to do that, you have to remember that. And then Tom Curry, Jack Vermeulen, and Dan Dupree in the back row. They've got some proper bangers in that team.
Asharapoku Fajor, he was packing down with Luke Cowan-Dickey against Los Pumas 6 days ago. It's been a short turnaround, one that he was involved in. I mean, Danny, you played with him, you played against him, you spectated, and now you're a pundit on this guy. He's a phenomenon, isn't he?
Okay.
He's an unbelievable rugby player. Very, very strange individual off the pitch. First time I met him and his brother, I didn't know how to take them, I'll be honest.
I think he's staying, I don't know where he was.
I think that most people label that as thoughtful when they describe Tom Curry. And you know, speaking of his brother Ben, he is due to be back next week as, well, Sale Sharks have an unenviable injury list at the moment, largely affecting their back three, the likes of Carpenter, Roebuck, Reed. But they will be desperately hoping not to lose Asharapoku Fajor here, who I guess in a sense reassuringly is seeing his arm get taped up, and it's not a neck, which is always your fear when a scrum goes down.
Yeah, without a doubt, and you could just see him going down on that tight head side. Maybe it's just a slip, but with all that weight and all that might coming down on your shoulder slash neck slash arm, really great to see that they're just strapping up the arm. Maybe the arm just got caught in an awkward position, left elbow it looks like. Because the force that must go through these guys' bodies. I played a different sport to what Asher and the likes still play. It's incredible what they do. Brilliant to see him hopefully staying on the pitch, and hopefully he can shake that one off, because he is one of the shining lights for this Sale Sharks team.
An immense prospect, one of a cohort, many of whom are out here this evening, of the England under-20s who were victorious in the World Rugby Championships in Cape Town a couple of summers ago. The
Put Stel on the line.
sort of class
Jay,
of Pollock,
take the line.
but also Alex Wills, who's out there on the wing for Chiefs, and Kane James is on the bench for Chiefs. Sorry, Wills for Sharks, I beg your pardon. But a first look at the line-out and the arrows of the Springbok Joseph Dweba. Fine addition
across
to Exeter this season, and Fisselout breaks free and advances just as he's done all autumn in England A colours, and it's back-to-back penalties for the Chiefs.
Yeah, frustrating for Sale Sharks. With such a good start, you have a scrum in the opposition 22 and then back-to-back penalties, and someone with the boot of Henry Slade. Those gorgeous-looking pink sketches that he's rocking at the minute, they must be paying him a fortune. And he, with this boot, probably going to push them really deep into their own 22.
Again, take the line.
Well, it's from a position that he made quite iconic on that famous semi-final win over Saracens years ago, but not quite the distance achieved on that fateful day, but on the doorstep of the Sharks 22. Taff Jenkins, full extension, reels it in, and Skinner releases. Len Ikitau, is there a better centre in World Rugby right now? Hooper, huge unit, and dexterous hands as well to gather that in. I'm not sure if the ball was intended, but Dweba sacrifices his kidneys to pop it up to Ikitau.
Tackle knees to floor, onside.
Exeter making inroads. Hooper wearing a huge shoulder coming across. But the ball's recycled quickly. Yosefa Scott popping up in the midfield on a short one against the grain. Building round to the left.
Let it go now, Sale.
Thrashing for a few more metres. Sale have reorganised themselves. Hooper in the 6th jersey.
Tackle move.
Christian's seen back in boots and running earlier this week. He'll be wanting that jersey back. Fisselout. So much power for such a young man, still just 22 years old. Exeter buffeted back, roots that time. Well, it's slow going, it's unglamorous stuff, but Jenkins is teed up and smashed by his former teammate Jacques Vermeulen.
Tackle knees, let it go, Sale.
Gritty.
It is gritty, some great carries, but also some great defence from Sale. You could just see Tom Curry biding his opportunity, gets the turnover, and we're away.
Well, the ball popped out to the surprise of everybody, not least Dan Dupree.
The ball came back,
and he showed the footwork of his brother Rob. Off goes Josh Hodge, who is poleaxed. A bone rattler on the 10-metre. And it's going to take him a fair bit of time to dust himself down.
So this is what Tom Curry does, bang. Legally, that's what he does, legally. This is what he does, and you can hear the Sale Sharks song, here comes the boom. Yes, it does with Tom Curry. What a hit. Oh, they might have a little look at that. Will they have a look? Interesting to see.
I thought that was from where I was just. There's clearly not.
We're just having a little look.
When it picks up. We've got a natural stoppage anyway.
Well, Peter Allen is the TMO this evening. And it doesn't look great for Tom Curry in terms of position of impact and positioning of arm and shoulder.
We're good? Happy? Okay.
Just slow it down, Woody. Woody, just give me some time, please. Here.
That's fine. Yeah, TMO's checking in the background. Looks like Pete from
Woody.
Are you seeing a arm coming up from underneath?
Here, whether he does
okay.
send this up to have a proper look. Yeah, he's heading over there.
So we're checking whether or not
Tom Curry, unfortunately, might find himself in a little bit of trouble.
We'll play full speed first of all for you, Woody.
Yes, please.
And then we'll get...
Yeah, tackles to the right shoulder. Tackles to the right shoulder, so we want to see him make sure there's a wrap with that right arm.
We're going to come slower now just to show that right arm, Woody.
Yeah, that's fine. What do you think? You think it's down there?
This is a really tricky one. This is a really tricky one because Tom Curry,
okay, so
half
what
of
we're
the tackle is on the shoulder, it's on the upper body,
the right shoulder,
and a little bit of it, though, I think does make contact with the head.
Making contact with the body, so I'm looking at a yellow card.
This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with the facts there,
to see what the referee does. This could be a yellow card, potentially.
Yeah, we'll do, yeah.
He's got his arm down, he's not wrapping, hits the body, it's a yellow card.
Tom Curry, after the week he's had, the accusations
it's on the 10
he has received from Felipe Comptaponi, receives a yellow card within 6 minutes of his return to the Gallagher PREM. Sailed down to 14 for the next 10.
Shot called.
I think the purists at home, there'll be a lot of people saying, why is that a penalty? Why is that a yellow card? He's a big guy who hits incredibly hard. He has hit him upright in the chest, but some of his shoulder has made contact with the head. Therefore, yellow card. I think if it had been full shoulder to head, you're looking at a red card, but that's why it's been mitigated down to a yellow. Unfortunately for Tom Curry, his PR company are going to have to do a bit of work this week, I think.
And it opens the door for Henry Slade to swing the left laces through and past the 80-point mark for the season in Chiefs colours. Tom Curry sent to the bin. Chiefs up on the scoreboard, 6 minutes played, Sale 0, Exeter 3.
Yeah, from an Exeter Chiefs point of view, it's a brilliant start. Man in the bin, got an early penalty scrum on their own 22. Exit, keep hold of the ball, wait for an opportunity. Penalty, the team's down to 14 men. Big exit now.
But this time, Slade makes absolutely sure, and he's got a big bopper on the inside in Roots.
And use it.
Exeter haven't beaten the Sharks here for some time, October 2023.
Let it go, let it go.
With a start like this, with a yellow card like that, is tonight the night. The captain, Van Rijn, side down by Skinner. The aerial on the angle, and O'Flaherty misses out to Hodge, who's taking a bit of treatment in all of his deeds so far. Ball fell backwards, so play on for the visiting Exeter.
I think this is where you'll really see George Ford's tactical masterclass come into play. Down to 14 men at home, just trying to settle the team down, put the team in the right position. I don't think they'll mess about a lot in their own half. Maybe look for one or two phases, get the forwards over the gain line here. You look for a kick-off Gus War potentially because it's near the touchline, or George Ford will take control. Probably a 9 kick from here.
And again, thank you. No. No.
Ward does just that, and
offside.
Well, Sale's discipline, their Achilles heel in this opening 8 minutes. Oh, I beg your pardon. It's gone the way of Sale.
Yeah, Exeter just straying offside, which Rob Baxter, I'm sure, will be livid about. Got the team down to 14 men in a bit of a kick battle. Numerical advantage, you just want to keep hold of the ball, keep disciplined. Let Sale exit that ruck easily, but straying offside gives George Ford a great opportunity. Hit the ball deep into Exeter half, get some possession. Imagine a maul or a breakout off the maul here, keeping it in tight with the forwards, and maybe getting their big centres involved.
Don't creep.
Well, you look at George Ford and you think, well, no rest for the talented. Every game, pretty much in the autumn, described as almost the perfect 10 this week by Brian O'Driscoll. But it is his big bruising forwards and an Exeter Chief man and boy until
Vonage, changing
travelling
lines.
north to Sale.
Playing a Vonage.
That he's getting through the work right now. Dragged to deck.
Yeah. 4.
And it looks
Let
to
it
be
go.
Daft Jenkins for
Changing binds onto the ball.
changing his bind
Four
onto the
wide.
ball there. Real opportunity for Sale to drive into Exeter's corner now.
Yeah, again, great game
Line.
management from Sale.
Don't
Keep it
change
in
binds
tight.
Onto the ball,
More
please.
to try and obviously gain momentum, but also if you get a penalty out of this, even better. More time to turn the clock, wind the clock down to get Tom Curry back onto the pitch, to get 15
Gus,
men
hold
back
the
on.
line, hold the 10, please.
But here again, the Sale forwards will go to work. What's the bets on Luke Cowan-Dickey popping up with a little try here?
No compete. Over 15. Broken
Sale
away.
claim it. It's another former Chief Vermeulen who barnstorms
No, let it
to
go.
within 3. Exeter just can't help themselves at the moment, but they avert a penalty. Apoku Fajon meets the might
Still in the air.
of a gang of Chiefs, held up, the ball falls backwards and McIntyre
Advantage, 9 wide offside.
latches on.
Playing advantage.
More penalty advantage for the Sharks to work with.
And advantage again.
Cowan-Dickey. No meters made,
Advantage.
but
So
more
much
Chiefs
space.
sucked in. All the space out wide left, but it's a brilliant read from Faye Waboso
Still under advantage.
to shut off the option. Oh, Vermeulen toe-to-toe with Hooper. 2 6s, but all of it's to no avail. The penalty was always coming. And George Ford's come from a bit of range
So
to
he
get
kicked the ball
involved
away.
in some afters as a
he's
Sale man on the
frustrated
floor,
and
and
he's gone from his
not sure
Yeah,
either of us are
7
sure
wide.
what quite happened.
So, Gus, I agree.
I think Gus Ward was doing what Gus
You
Ward
can't
does
go quick
really
at this
well.
point,
He
but once
annoys
you give too
people.
much,
He was
and
in
can't move
someone's
forward anymore.
face.
5 feet.
And I think one of the
Time off.
Exeter Chiefs forwards, it might have been Ethan
Don't
Roots
kick the
that
ball away,
doesn't
please. Just don't
particularly
kick-
take
don't
to
kick the ball
that
away.
sort of stuff very well, has launched him
Yeah,
on
there
the
wasn't
floor,
enough
and then
on,
George
but we had loads
Ford
of offside to go
has
after.
run in to try and help him. I admire George
is off, that
Ford's
player's receiving.
bravery there, but I think I'm backing Ethan
that
Roots
tackle on
in
the-
a fisticuff fight there.
At the moment, receiving treatment. I've got nothing
Yeah,
at the
just have a
moment.
look, Woody, yeah.
You have 2 off. Yeah, he's checking. You've got 2 offside options. Okay. Yes, you do. You've got time for huddle. Yeah. So, CMO's checking.
Yeah, happy with that more.
Yeah, good. So we got an offside. Yeah, and then 1 about a couple of meters to the left here. And that was 2.
We're still trying to find it, Woody.
Yeah, don't worry, Annie. It's fine. It's fine, Annie.
Trying to sort of get a look at what unfolded here. A collision of big boys in Hooper and Vermeulen, and I think
You've got
I
one
think
there. And
there
you've got
may
one
have
here.
been a little head-on-head there.
Pete, you happy for us to continue?
Just one last look at it, please. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, there was. Hooper on Vermeulen, head-on-head. I'm sure that's going to be another one
Would you
that
just slow
Anthony
down? Yeah.
Woodthorpe's
Yeah,
going to
that's
have
fine,
to have a look at. But the initial tackle, there is definitely head-on-head.
Pete?
Yeah, look, Woody, we're going to have a look at that. There is head contact
Okay,
on it. Yeah,
yep.
there's an upright tackler. Yeah. Yeah, so it's white 6.
well, the numbers on the field might be levelled up in a moment. Anthony Woodthorpe
Okay,
has
Pete, we're at the screen now.
got to get a wriggle on to the far corner of the core pack to
So
see
the
it in
action's 6
Technicolor.
white.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, before that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as you can see there, Tom Hooper is upright in the tackle,
So on the point
does
of
not
contact,
dip,
Woody?
goes
so
high,
point of
hits Jack
contact.
Vermeulen square in the head. And you have to say it's with a decent amount of force as well. But slightly passive. That might be the mitigation, but we'll see what the referee and his officials come up with here. That might mitigate it down to a yellow card, but there is head on head.
I'm looking at a yellow card, entering it yellow, but I'm not seeing any mitigation at this point. Happy with that?
And for the viewers at home, you do see Vermeulen is leading into it, but as a defensive player, you have to drop your height.
Through the body. Okay, so for me, I'm entering at a yellow card. We're not seeing any mitigation, so it's a yellow card.
Agreed, yeah.
I should be a ref, Burnsy.
Yellow card, most of the force is through the body.
Maybe.
There is head contact, that's
Maybe.
why you enter the yellow, no mitigation.
Well,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
well, Tom Hooper has received his second yellow
Mark's here, so just use the line.
in
Yeah,
as many
6 1
in
for yellow,
just
side
1
tackle.
week. Saw yellow against France in the autumn test, and he's seeing yellow again. And well, that's the face of a man who disagrees with the call, with your call, referee Cat.
Yeah, you can't disagree with that. You can't. I'm all for keeping players on the pitch. I'm all for rugby being a physical, combative game. But we have to change standards. We have to change behaviours. We have to tackle lower. It's player welfare. We don't want men and women getting hit in the head, especially with head on head. It can cause serious injuries. So it is, unfortunately, it's a yellow card. There was no real malice on it. There was no real physical exertion into the tackle, which why it gets mitigated from the red to the yellow. But yellow is absolutely the right call here.
Let's go, Harvey.
2 yellows, 2 penalties, 2 successful kicks. The net result, 2 sides locked on 3 points apiece with less than a dozen minutes played.
There you are. Use it now.
14 on 14. Almost feels like the game can reset from this point. It has been bitty and fractured. The lengthy injury to Opoku Fajor, the 2 TMO reviews for yellow cards.
Keep coming, Seb, keep coming.
And now the engagement of a kicking duel. Josh Hodge
Timing is fine.
left it late,
Keep coming.
wore some of the hit in the aftermath of missing touch, and George Ford has got a bit of fractured field to tee up Tom O'Flaherty. Hit hard by Yosefa Scott. Look at the desire of the prop to try and surge through the breakdown after. Cowan Dickey looking for an offload, and another penalty against Chiefs. Their discipline beginning to slip. Van Rijn one-handed, just cruising through the gap. Ikitan Yosefa Scott get the Sale captain eventually. Sale beginning to hum. Marcy White ripped off the right hand, brilliant take from Wills, bends up for Boso, almost slides through the grease to the paint, but not quite there. Alert, a reach for the corner, and has Gus Moore got there?
So, I'm playing advantage.
I think he might have got his lines wrong, Burnsy. I think he's put the ball on the touchline. I may be mistaken.
Okay, so just third question.
But in the melee, I mean, it's a wonderful ball. We're going to get you a replay of the ball in a minute from Rod Dupree.
We haven't got a grounding, so try yes or no, please.
Okay, yeah, have a look, yeah.
Tell me what the restart is. If it's not a try, we'll go back for the penalty for 4, not rolling away.
Well, I guess the question is, does the tip of the ball touch the try line? This will be the money shot.
It's different. You're not passing it. You are diving. It's like a pick and go situation. I think the ball is out at that point, Gus.
I think you can tell by Gus Moore's face that he realised it's the wrong line.
Yeah, Woody, that's not a try. The ball's in touch, so stick with your original penalty, yep.
Yep, okay.
Well, understandably, Gus Moore was seeking a bit of a clarification on the pick and go rules, as a man who probably hasn't got many
Shot called.
across his career. But it's still a win for Sale and George Ford, because this one is an absolute banker. For George Ford, who has not just led this Sale side superbly
I'll tell you when they're 20.
since arriving from Tigers, but he really has wrestled control of that England 10 jersey after a masterful autumn. Never in doubt from George Ford, and Sale Sharks take the lead.
Yeah, meat and drink for George Ford, but here's the ball from Rob Dupree. What a lovely seed that is, out to the wing. Willis goes so close, and then Gus Wall I'm sorry I'm laughing, but he literally puts the ball down on the wrong line. That's a fine in the team's meeting, I think, on Monday.
Awkwardly taken, and somehow the long tentacles of Andrea
No, it did go forward.
Zambanin.
He did go forward. Okay, lost forward, first by Blue, Exeter scrum.
Well, he gathered in, but there are a few knock-ons there, and
First knock on by
that's
Sale.
really what Exeter needed. They've lost the thread a little bit in the last few minutes.
They have, great for Exeter, just as we see Tom Curry returning to the field. Exeter now a man down, but with a great opportunity to get some ball, keep hold of the ball. They've got some of the silkiest players in the game, two absolute ballers in the midfield in Len Ikitau and Henry Slade. And you just see on your screen soon,
TMO's confirmed it.
Henry Slade just standing in the sort of 12 channel, Ikitau one out wide. Probably going to see Henry Slade with the ball in his hands from Charlie Chapman very soon, if we get the ball away from the scrum, which is normally the commentator's curse. But we'd love to see this back line firing, because for me, the 12, 13, 14 of Ikitau, Slade and Manny Faye-Weboso, if there's a better one in the Gallagher PREM, I'll call you a liar. And obviously it's a penalty.
Bring your feet up. He falls flat.
We'll see a launch play soon.
down.
I'm sure of it, Danny.
Please.
I heard, but not for me. What are you doing, Henry? Shot called.
And Exeter wisely playing the percentages.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not international rules. What I
That
decided
is-
is what it is.
James Harper on the field there, which would suggest that Asher Opoku for Jor has gone off.
Yeah, you can see Asher down there on the Sale bench. We can see him from our gantry position here. Obviously that early knock to the arm, shoulder or elbow, unfortunately has ended his night.
20.
Henry Slade is kicking like a dream up north right now. As sweet a strike as you'll hear all night in Salford. And Exeter level the ledger despite being a man down.
It's a wonderful strike from Henry Slade to level the scores. Always looks better left-footed as well, doesn't it?
Does look silky, DC.
My 11-year-old son is a lefty, and it just
was
looks
wide.
better in the back garden.
Tackle now.
Well, the kickoff reception is continuing to plague Exeter as
Vonix.
Vissalau is sat down in no uncompromising terms. They thought it was going to be a classic George Ford drop goal, but
He
instead
competes when you're on the wrong
it's
side.
an
and he goes
ambitious
off feet.
pass that just leaks forward.
Two competes off feet.
And what do you do
and
here,
was there on
Danny?
the wrong side. Shot called.
George Ford, he takes the 3. Yeah, just that tactical nous that George has got. We all saw it the last 4 weeks in an England shirt. He played three out of the 4 in the starting 10 jersey and led England to an unbeaten Quilter Nation series. And for reasons like this, for me, he just feels momentum better than potentially any 10 that I've seen in my professional era. Just knows when to get it, when you haven't got it, and how to get it back, and when to really put the foot on the throat. And the way the game's gone so far, just keep that scoreboard ticking over. You have the numerical advantage for a few more minutes. Take the points when they're on offer.
Well, neither Sale nor Exeter yet to fully find their groove on this Friday comeback night of the Gallagher PREM, but there's no doubt about it, that man is picking up right where he left off,
Behind the line.
with a rose on his chest. Ford flawless, and Sale with their 3-point lead reinstated. Rob Dupree running down an Exeter alleyway. Heads back in field to provide war with the angle. Instead, he says to the other Dupree, charge on and let's narrow this up. This one's going to be to compete, and Josh Hodge is watching. Josh Hodge has got company in the skies from Wills, who's done enough to disrupt, and Exeter are at 6s and 7s here. Sale, if they flash it wide, instead they go boot to ball, and it is judged to perfection for a 50-22 that gives Sale position A in Exeter's 22.
It's an absolutely brilliant kick. George Ford potentially could have kicked it, but he didn't. He's shifted it one more. That just buys Rob Dupree a little bit of time. Passive defence from Exeter to pick his spot. A roller kick, end over end with a bit of top spin.
Yeah, I'm just
you get that roll forward, and Sale just tactically a cut above Exeter Chiefs at the minute.
Still looking, Woody, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise it's your penalty.
No, it was always inside, Woody.
Okay.
So it's a penalty, yep.
Line out taken. Your line out, 50-22.
Well, I think we've finally got the positioning of that line out just about bang on, and Rob Dupree, well, they're going to miss him when he heads off, heading Bayonne way after more than 150 appearances for Sharks. Curry linking up. Oh, it's a bullocking run with disdain for the Exeter defence. Snappy hands, flash across the face. Wills for a finish, gets swallowed by Fissalau. A try-saver, Ford. Dupree winds up once, then again. The bailout's Marcy White. Bit of life in the attack, but it is a burglary of the highest order from Len Ikitau. Somehow, he crowed the ball free on the deck.
Use it!
And averted a Sale attack that was beginning to build real momentum. Oh, goodness me. Charlie Chapman gets himself into a tangle.
Use it.
But he manages to not knock on. Exeter not in safe seas just yet.
Use it.
Chapman doesn't find touch, and O'Flaherty winds up and moves through the gears pretty sharpish. Up to the 22. Now Ford. Cowan Dickey loses possession from the Skinner hit, and Chiefs survive.
Yeah, they survive. I'm not sure how, but it is a little bit scrappy. It's got the feel of a time where a lot of players have been away with playing internationally, but this is brilliant from Rob Dupree. You see the miss pass from Gus Waugh. George Ford looks like he's going to get the ball. That's the little bit of brilliance. So it's a brilliant seed from Rob Dupree, a guy that they are going to miss. Sale announced the signing of Joe Marchant, ex-Harlequin, who's applying his trade out in Paris at the minute with Stade Francais. He's coming back, which adds another dimension also to England's centre combinations, potentially for the World Cup. But disappointed for Sale that they didn't get over the line. They've been so close, a couple of times down this left-hand side of scoring a try. They might rue those mistakes a little bit later on.
Okay. So we had some pre-engage this side, and then we got some movements, okay? More control. Let's go.
Come on, boys. Don't want it hot, it's going low.
Keep your shoulder out, please. Shoulders, let's go.
His shoulders is going below. Let's go hard.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
And squeeze it.
Sale getting the nudge on, and one against the head as well. War improvises for dabs. Dupree sets off, and Faye-Waboso just drops on the grenade. Pressure building now on the Chiefs. Restored back to the full complement with that carrier hooper back in play. Chapman finds a modest touch, and Sale will rebuild again from just beyond the 22.
Yeah, some unbelievable bits of skill. Firstly, Guswa out the back. George Ford sees the backfield space, drops it on his left. This from Manny Faye-Waboso is brilliant. Just not dying with the ball, getting his team out of a bit of trouble with an opportunity to then exit. But three brilliant bits of skill.
Crisp off the top. Dupree, Marcy White, a run up from the car park, and it's a good hard left shoulder. Oh, it's a gorgeous line, and Luke James turns Faye-Waboso inside out to cruise beneath the crossbar. What a line, what a finish. The game finally alive with a bit of class.
Sale Sharks are alive. They've got this crowd on their feet. Unbelievable finish by Luke James, but it all starts with the set piece. First phase was brilliant, and then Rob Dupree, he's thrown some great long balls. We've just seen an unbelievable short ball. Does it with the eyes, straight in between Skinner and Slade, and he even steps Manny Faye-Waboso just for fun.
20.
Takes a confident man to look to step Manny Faye-Waboso with the line at your mercy. But Luke James is a man in try-scoring form.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable line. Luke James is one of those players that goes so under the radar but consistently performs brilliantly for Sale Sharks. Every time he's in a shirt, whether it's 15, whether it's in the centres when needed, always one of Sale Sharks' best players. Great try.
Him and his brother feel so synonymous with Sharks, don't they?
They really do. Obviously,
Sale.
Sam's over in France, in Paris, loving life, counting his cash over there, but playing every week. You see him on every single team sheet that Racing put out there. There's a James on the team sheet. A couple of friends have gone over. Johnny Hill's over there with him now. But Luke James at 15 for the Sale Sharks tonight. Again, wonderful start to his game.
We mentioned that mini French exodus as well. Jean-Luc Dupree over to Bordeaux. He's yet to play for them, actually, having got injured whilst training with the Springboks ahead of their test against the All Blacks at Eden Park. Josh Beaumont's retired. It's been a big conversation this week from Alex Sanderson around recruitment and the sizable holes that he has to plug with big names like that heading abroad.
Yeah, big holes to fill. But we did hear him in the press say that there's room for 5 or so world-class international players. Chandler Cunningham South heavily linked with a move to Sale Sharks, but then he got a bit of stick for asking for a sizable contract. But he was told that there was 5 sizable contracts to go after, so yeah, tricky one there for the player. You can't blame the player for reading the press and then his agent maybe asking for a little bit more money. He's obviously stayed at Harlequins, but yeah, there's obviously some money there to bolster the squad and fill some of the quite sizable gaps that have been left.
Too long.
Another penalty for Exeter, and it is looking like a tough half of rugby for James Harper right now. Just his 4th
I'll give him the
Premiership
penalty. I'm not sure what else
appearance
you
of the
want from me.
season, prominent in the Premiership Cup.
Option.
Spent a bit of loan time with Coldy
Luke, I need him to bring
last
his feet
season
up.
in the champ,
Get
the
his feet underneath
Ravers as they're known.
He needs to bring his feet up.
But
I will
the Chiefs
check,
are
I will check,
a
that's
different
the picture I've got.
prospect entirely.
Yeah, Will Goodrich Clark, Joseph Dweber and Josh Osefa Scott. 3 sizable humans, 3 big bits of kit that if you get it slightly wrong technique-wise, you're going to get pinged. I'd imagine Sale and Alex Sanderson would have hoped Asher Opoka-Fajor, picked to start this game, would have played a lot longer than he is. But unfortunately, James Harper, we've seen what a scrum can do in the last couple of weeks in an international shirt. You were there in Ireland seeing the South Africans at large, and they picked a fairly decent squad as well this weekend for the trip to Wales.
Well, it looked nice, it sounded great, but Henry Slade's attempt is errant. And 3 points are left out there. And well, he's pretty furious with himself. A let-off for Sale. And a ball to watch very carefully for Fawa Boso. Wills all over him. It's been a really lively start for the young left winger.
No.
Goodrick Clark gets pretty short shrift
Use it.
from Harper and co. A ricochet off the midriff of Ben Bamba. Play on right now. And Gus Wall positioning himself
Use it.
to put another bomb up into the night northern skies. Hodge takes ownership, but he suddenly saw Tom Curry and Alex Wills arriving on his horizon pretty sharpish and spills into touch.
Yeah, Josh Hodge will be really disappointed with that. He's just limping. Just see him limping there a little bit. Strapping on the left leg. It's a great kick from Gus Wall. It's a contestable kick. But you see the Sale Sharks guys hold to just absolutely whack him when he hits the ground. Unfortunately, Josh Hodge just takes his eye off the ball. Again, great game management from the 9 and 10 for Sale.
The Sharks revert to one of their tried and tested weapons, the maul, but it's the break free down the blind that has Harvey Skinner
Don't use your hands.
looking for help from his friends. It arrives in white in the end. Goodrick Clark's battled hard to backpedal and take that carry with Yosefa Scott and Hooper as the bookends. Chapman, not the cleanest sounding connection, but safety found.
Yeah, Charlie Chapman would have hoped for maybe 5 or 10 more metres, but the key thing there is to get the ball off the pitch. You don't want to be kicking contestable just to land outside your 22, giving Sale an opportunity to get the ball. They've now got a line out. Let's see what comes off it.
Gus Wall flashes one off the face, and somehow Dupree emerges with the ball and with the ability to keep going forward. Up goes the latest aerial conundrum for Ollie Woodburn and the rest of the back three from George Ford, and Sale are dominating the airspace right now. McIntyre at first receiver, O'Flaherty skating round on the arc. How many times did Chiefs fans see that in their pomp? Fawa Boso.
Run.
Here we go, can he find a hole? The answer's yes, and he bursts through it. Looks for the offload, but no one's quite on his wavelength.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Skinner drifts over the top to Roots. Hitch, kick, accelerate, but Dupree in tandem with Ford is too much. Hooper, negative meters for the Wallaby. Oh, it was a good read Henry Slade managed just to matador his old teammate Vermeulen.
Let's go.
Who'd rolled the dice and he'd gone all in on the Chiefs outside centre.
Let's go. Use it.
Could see it in his eyes. He wanted his old teammate there, didn't he? Flew off the line. Read the play really well. Then the short runner, but Henry Slade out the back. Normally when you got Henry Slade out the back, you want to use him because he's so good with his hands, and Jack Vermeulen can fly him through. Box kick just a bit too long here. It's not contestable. Gives Sale an opportunity to counter-attack.
The try scorer, James.
Yes, ball is out a long time.
Slightly messy presentation.
Take it back into the half.
Ford, as ever, knows what to do. I think that was passed back across the halfway. So while the Corpac Stadium will be baying for a line out, I think this one will be Chiefs.
Take it back into the half, no 50-22.
Yeah, it was passed back just, with a metre. It's a great call from the officials, but just brilliant again from George Ford. But you've got to say, the Exeter backfield, it was a huge problem for them last season. They had a really tough season in the Gallagher PREM last year. And their backfield organisation, they were too easy to put the ball behind, too easy to gain field position from, and there's another chance that they've just given Sale.
Paul Brown-Bampo, who was the breakout sensation last year, he's struggling with a bit of an injury. Ollie Woodburn back for just his third appearance, bedevilled by injury last season, ankle ligaments. And he's not a bad man to reinstate into the backfield, and oh my goodness! Joseph Dwebber flying low and wiping out the Sale man.
It was that man Gus War again, got absolutely dwebbered.
To be dwebbered.
To be dwebbered.
No one wants to be dwebbered on a Friday night in Salford. And here it comes.
I didn't get a view. I didn't get a view.
Strong boy.
I didn't get a view. Your scrum.
Did well to get that low, that's for sure. He is low slung as an individual, but he found a couple of extra meters to drop and make that perfectly legal and very, very pleasing on the eye.
It's a hooker's dream, that, isn't it? A scrum half going down on the ball, he has to get up, and Dwebber's almost just waiting for him, stalking his prey.
But Joseph Dwebber, he's come here with dreams of reigniting his Test career for the Springboks. Last time he was capped was 2023. The concern, though, is his front row partner, Josh Yosefa Scott, who started every match this season. There is a real familiarity to the front row that they're forming here. Will Goodrick-Clark returning after an AC joint strain, establishing himself as more of a starter this season, and I guess they're questing for that front row familiarity that hasn't been there since that guy there probably headed off as alongside a number of other departures. There was a big exodus from Exeter, and guys who've been at the club all the way through the journey. It's not just the players, it's the personalities that they've been looking to replace.
Without a doubt, and last season probably was the season of rebuilding, the season where Rob Baxter said, you know what, we're probably going to have some short-term pain here, but we're going to believe in what we're doing. Unearthed a couple of superstars in Manny Boso, Paul Brown-Bampo, both on the wings. The signing of Leniki Tau for me could be the signing of the season. He could be the guy that just turns the tide and makes things click if they get him the ball. I haven't seen him get the ball yet tonight. I mean, we haven't seen a strike play. We've got one more scrum here with a Sale opportunity for a strike play. And they're running around having cuddles again.
I call set. You're not hearing me. Okay.
No one wants a completed scrum and a strike play more than you tonight here, DC.
We've travelled a long way to hopefully see. I want to see George Ford with the ball in his hands with some space. I want to see Maasi White with some space. I want to see Henry Slade Lenikita. I want to see Emmanuel Boso get the ball. That's what the fans here want to see. That's what the viewers at home want to see. Only on TNT Sports.
Pre-engage.
Well, maybe a free kick will be the platform. Ford, Dupree goes awry. And then it's a makeshift chip into the arms of Hodge, who for the first time has a bit of breathing room to gather one in. Final few minutes of
Don't pull him. Let's go, 7.
a half that has spluttered to life at times, that is showing the ring rust of a league that's been in hibernation for the last few weeks. Wills is sharp as a tack, though. The less heralded of all the back threes out there, arguably, but he is looking like a hot prospect. Ford linking up with Marcy White, who surges through a hole and then just dismisses Harvey Skinner. Sale with a bit of attacking bite in the closing moments of the half.
Playing penalty advantage.
Ford, Dupree just slots James through the hole and is dragged down by Slade. McIntyre on his 100.
Never onside.
Needs to take that pass down a few gears. But Exeter, whenever Sale come with sustained pressure, sustained phases, they give away penalties.
They do. It's been a real problem for them at the moment. George Ford again just pulling the strings. Marcy White.
Shot called.
That is power. That is pure power. Harvey Skinner got to get lower, but when they get on top, they're so hard to stop because they've got big men running with momentum. And they get quick ball. They're a really tough team to stop here. George Ford just moving the ball here. Dupree again to James, silky hands, but all starting with that guy on your screen right now. Marcy White just giving them that punch.
Okay.
So similar to Manu Tuilagi. We saw him for years do that in a Sale shirt. Marcy White, brilliant acquisition.
George Ford has had plenty of practice from right in front tonight. Not that he needs it. 3 more from the boot of George. And Sale have opened up some real daylight on the scoreboard here, entering the final minute of the half.
And you have to say, from the Sale Sharks' point of view, what a half. Bouncing back from the early yellow card to Tom Curry to be leading by 13 points going into the last minute of the half. Managed this game really well.
And they might get another chance.
He gets, 14. He gets to a good height, and then he pulls them down.
To have another probe into Chiefs territory here. Pachuki Chumbadze has come on in place of Josh Yosefa Scott. By the way, the Tbilisi-born tight head. And, well, Faye Waboso just couldn't resist the scruff of the neck and the palm of his hand.
Almost a bit of a Brucey bonus there for Sale. They didn't think they were going to get another opportunity, but they've got a great attacking opportunity. The clock are just about to go into the red. Little front peel, Luke Cowan-Dickey down the blind side.
One from the training ground, but one that slips through the grip of the Cornishman. That'll be the last act of a half that has flattered to deceive at times. Two sides searching for their Gallagher PREM rhythm, but one finding it a little more than the other.
Absolutely, Tom Curry wants to let his rugby do the talking. Unfortunately got one slightly wrong in the first half. But I've just noticed he got some speed lines in his hair, which... interesting strategy.
Shark gills, I'd imagine. Good, Danny, that is dedication to the cause. Maybe you could have had some quarters in your lid back in the day.
I was a bit more street. I went for the eyebrow back in the day.
Very 90s boy band, 5-esque. Well, less about lids, a little more about rugby, and well, Exeter are in the same vein as far as their discipline is concerned. An easy exit for Sale Sharks. And a change as well. Josh Hodge, as you identified, DC, with a bit of a limp, replaced by Ben Hammersley, their versatile young back three player. One of the many products of their university pathway with Exeter University. Ollie Woodburn, who's been a few laps around the rugby block in his time, misses out, and Jacques Vermeulen gets a long run up, and Dweber launches himself into the thighs of the big South African. Oh, George Ford's been emptied by Ethan Roots, and he gets a bit extra as well as he looks to get back up. Tough as teeth though is George, back in position, marshalling the big men around him.
Set, no, well done. No, start on side.
And Tom Hooper, never in a million years are you allowed by that ball. O'Flaherty got there first, but Jenkins hoovers up the crumbs. A dainty dab off the laces. And Cowan Dickey, of all people, the first to race back and make it his.
Brilliant bit of skill for Daffer Jenkins. It's Gus Waugh and Sale, two great contestable kicks. Tom O'Flaherty gets to get in the air, get the ball back. He does it once, did it again. Daffer Jenkins goes, oh no,
use it.
I'll have that. Intercepts the ball, puts them in a great position. But what about that for work rate from Luke Cowan Dickey? First guy back on the ball. An excellent kick there from Gus Waugh.
Well, Hammersley has been on the pitch 2 minutes and 33 seconds, and he's opened up there in the aerial challenge, I think, with O'Flaherty coming together, and Exeter are probably going to have to fight a few formation fires. Will Hayden Wood and Tom Cairns the options on the bench?
Oh, no.
Just cops an elbow, I think, straight into the eye. And I'm not a doctor, but that did look like quite a big cut. Not what you want.
No, not yet.
In your first action on the pitch.
But this is a man who's going to be looking upwards a lot for the next 37.5 minutes, because Seller in no mood to ease off this blitz that they're bombing down on Exeter.
Yeah, they've had unbelievable success on it so far. Gus Waugh's had the ball on a string on the box kick. Contestable kicking for Sale is a massive part of their game. Normally with Tom Robert, one of the best in the business, but O'Flaherty and Wills showing tonight that it's a big thing that this Sales team really go after.
Sambon in. Oh, jolting shot on Hooper, who is really getting walloped out there. The Sale back row making him a marked man, and Cowan Dickey on the scene again.
Absolute terrier-like work from Luke Cowan Dickey. We saw the work rate. That's two unbelievable impacts from Luke Cowan Dickey there. The work rate to get back, to chase on, pounce on the loose ball, and then you don't shift Luke Cowan Dickey very easily over a breakdown against his old team.
Well, he didn't think he'd hit 50 England caps, but he got there against Australia this November. The man from Truro who spent 13 years winning a lot of silverware and a big part of the Chiefs' ascent. He's letting them know what they're missing tonight.
Careful now. What we get?
Curry explodes off the balls of his feet.
1 or 2, on side.
Dweber and Chumbadze dispatched to take him down, but it'll be Waugh who puts it up on Woodburn. O'Flaherty gets there first again, and Jenkins, his work rate for those scraps.
Use it.
It's become such a massive part of the game, not just getting up in the air. Firstly, the contestable kick, pressure in the air to try and slap the ball back. You've seen so many players slapping the ball back now. You're going to see even more players like Daffy Jenkins just fighting for those crumbs, getting in the areas where the ball gets slapped back. Here's another one.
Backwards.
Gus Walls come up with the ball.
He wins the ball.
Well, it trickles tantalisingly down the touchline, but
Goal line drop out.
Charlie Chapman wins the race. And Exeter are going to have to kick their way free as finally Salford and the Corpac Stadium awaken, raise the decibels.
Yeah, it feels again like it just needs something, doesn't it? It needs a bit of magic, a moment, a line break or a quick tap penalty, something just to get this team going. Maybe we're going to get it here with a big collision and a big carry.
But you can always count on a Dupree to do a bit of damage. Almost sees it levered free from his arm. Curry cut down. Lovely line. Booming run from Vermeulen. Roots misses the shot. Forward to James. No hole to Sertru this time. Curry with the hop, the skip, and the Welsh second row hanging from round his ankles. Fisselau takes down Cowan Dickey. Dupree, double, triple bump, opens up the Chiefs. Slick hands, oh! A barnstorming finish, and in full extension. Alex Wills, every last millimetre of him, finishes sublimely in the left-hand corner.
Ask and Sale Sharks shall deliver. Just an increase of tempo, an increase of energy. Rob Dupree just teasing the Exeter defence, making players bite in. It's a great handoff from Alex Wills. He brushes off the 9, boshes the 10. Go-go gadget arms to finish in the corner. Everything that we've been saying this game probably needs. It's the Sale Sharks side and that number 11, Alex Wills. Deputising for Roebuck and Reed probably at the moment. Brilliant finish. Sale now in complete control of this one.
Would you try? Is good.
Thank you.
The flag's up. The Corpac Stadium noisy. And Alex Wills making a name for himself on a Friday night in Salford.
Happy.
Well, you said to me before, I don't know too much about this young lad. I'd say we might hear a little bit more.
He's looked absolutely brilliant out there tonight, been one of the standout players. Not just that finish, but getting in the air, making himself a nuisance. Defensively, he's been sound. And the winger doing it, what a winger should do. Give yourself an opportunity, score the try. Brilliant from Alex Wills.
And use it. Start there.
Well, just as Wills was at full extension, that was all 6'9" of Ben Bamber. Horizontal. Hammersley.
Tackle, let it go!
Press gang by O'Flaherty and Curry. Chumbadze, the Georgian who made his debut this year against the Netherlands. And an easy ball to claim for Luke James, and right now Sale, they're in complete control, aren't they?
Absolutely. You've just seen there an example of the difference between the two teams at the minute. George Ford and Gus Waugh have been making every single kick a contest to create some chaos, to create some turnover. Skinner just so far long that it's an easy mark and an easy way to exit. Again, slightly aimless kick. You're giving George Ford and Sale Sharks the opportunity to counter-attack.
You have to say that the former Chiefs boys have stood up. Vermeulen, prominent in the good stuff that Sharks have done. Dupree growing in. Tweber has thrown himself around defensively.
Tackle now!
O'Flaherty in the air, Cowan Dickey in the nitty-gritty.
Use it! No.
And again, Wart puts it on the button.
Good competition.
Woodburn and Wills, neither emerge, but it's in Chiefs' hands. They need a spark now. Can Roots deliver it?
Let it go now, Sale.
Got to pull on an England A jersey against the All Blacks 15. The Kiwi-born back row. But, well, that is a rare misfire from a boot from Sale Sharks.
Yeah, that's the first
1 and 2 change.
foot that he's put wrong tonight. Alex Wills read the kick really well, saw Charlie Chapman was shaping to do that little roller kick from scrum half. He read that really well, and then unfortunately just sliced the kick, fell off the kick, leant backwards.
Time on.
Ball went out, and it's given Exeter a chance to hopefully show a little bit. I think we've all been waiting. It's 50 minutes on the clock now. We've not seen Exeter really test this Sale Sharks side at all with the ball in hand.
Who's
Great opportunity here.
As Joseph Twebber makes way, club captain Jack Yendall comes onto the field, and so too Scott Seo, fresh from helping Samoa qualify for the Rugby World Cup and from helping us out on the couch in the Quilter Nations series. The former Wallaby. They love an Aussie down in Devon, don't they? One's ignored in Hooper. Ikitau's not there. Harvey Skinner somehow threaded the eye of a needle, but the final pass dies on the toes of Ollie Woodburn. And just that spark that we were talking about, DC, is suddenly snuffed out.
Oh, just when we saw a little bit of momentum, Harvey Skinner taking the ball to the line, holding the ball in 2 hands. Any young 10 out there, that's the way. And then he just throws the speculative one just too far. Then looking back on that, he'll say, I should have just kept hold. He had the ball sort of 7-8 metres away from the Sale Sharks line. Keep hold of the ball. When you get opportunities, they've been few and far between, but you have to be clinical, especially away at Sale. They don't give you many of these opportunities. Unfortunately now Sale with a chance to exit.
Well, they don't give anyone many opportunities. It is a true fortress up here. Just that one loss here in the Prem since January 2024, so approaching 2 years now.
Don't go around the corner.
Exeter, they got a bit of experience in the Prem Cup a fortnight ago. The rain was horizontal that night. Woodburn comes from off-field to take it, but no sooner does he have it in his hands, well,
it's unfortunate.
He's tackled but
Very
not
technical.
Released, and
Completed the tackle, then he drags him out. It's
well,
technical.
there you go, you hear the technical explanation from Anthony Woodthorpe.
Yeah, here's Exeter's opportunity then. Just see here, great take from Woodburn, lands in the field of play, the knees are down there. Unfortunately, once the knees are down, the tackler must release, must get out of the way. They've ragdolled him into touch, penalty to Exeter. Jack Yendall, the club captain, on the ball here. They have to come away with something here, you feel, if they're to get back into this game.
Try against Gloucester in the Prem. For Jack Yendall, he could do with one here to resuscitate these Exeter hopes of a rare victory up north, battling to get the ball to the ground, and he does so successfully. Seo adds a bit of scaffolding onto the maul. Real chaos there at the breakdown. Hooper picks and goes inside. Fissalau takes a couple of attempts, but crucially doesn't knock on.
No, not over the top, onside.
Exeter's pick and go DNA, and it is Yendall. It is the old stalwart, and it is the oxygen that Exeter needed to breathe life into their hopes of a victory tonight.
Yeah, you got to say brilliant from Rob Baxter. Firstly, the game felt like it needed a little bit of control, a little bit of leadership, and you've put on the ultimate leader there, the guy that knows this club inside and out, Jack Yendall, just to say, come on boys, let's tighten things up. They went to the maul and they went pick and go, they went route one, they went direct, got their big men getting over the gain line. Fisselau with the carry here.
20.
Charlie Chapman do what every scrum half should do, scream to the referee like you know what you're talking about, but you have no idea what's going on those rucks. Jack Yendall using all that nous just to burrow his way over and get next to back in this game.
Henry Slade makes it a 7-pointer.
No knock on.
A precious 7-pointer. And the style that hallmarks all those years of Exeter success does them right here with a man who's been there every step, every try of the way. Well, misses the initial pod, and Slade has learnt his lessons from the first half. Well, from the first take. Sal 26, Exeter 13. Long way to go. And there's some fresh faces onto the field. Nathan Jabulu,
Tackle now, Exeter!
who is in fine scoring form, is thriving up here in Sale colours. He's onto the field.
Use it. Let's go.
And he could well be an option here for Gus Waugh, who's hurriedly encouraging his big boys, the likes of Harper,
Exeter, not over the top.
to come for a carry.
Use it.
Hammersley makes it his, this time Sale keep him on his feet, and he somehow transfers it to Zambanin, but the touchline beats Exeter eventually.
Yeah, it's a great take again from Hammersley. Unfortunately, the Sale players just ragdoll him again into touch. You've got to somehow, the take's great, you've got to somehow then just find the floor. Get your knees down on the floor, get the ball back, take your medicine.
Lads, let's come on.
Well, Nathan Jabulu is onto the field, but Luke Cowan-Dickey remains. So, going to have to ascertain who's no longer there. Ollie Woodburn takes the mark. And it looks like it may be for Dwayne Vermeulen.
Another one of those hybrid substitutions.
It's all the rage, all the Razzie rage. Play at Quins, become a hybrid. If Andre can do it, Nathan Jabulu can do it.
Oh, he's the one that got away for me at Harlequins, Nathan Jabulu. Such a brilliant young player. So much potential. I think you'll see that lad in an England shirt in the not so distant future. I think he's destined for great things. Maybe in the back row.
Maybe in the back row, because the man in the hooker jersey,
Gentry 18.
you can see by the mud and the blood on the knees, is putting in a full-blooded performance tonight. Wonderful kick that bounces kindly for Wills, and clinging on for dear life is Hammersley. Looks to affect some chaos, and well, it all got a little congested in the midfield. But again, as has so often been the way in this match, Sale were always playing with an insurance policy.
It's been the story of the game.
Enters in the second leg.
Exeter just giving away so many penalties. giving Sale the licence to throw the ball around, but more so than not do exactly what Rob Dupree's just doing here. Find field position, give themselves more entries to try and get up the field, but also push Exeter back into their own half and strike from great opportunities like this. 30 metres out, Luke Cowan-Dickey about to throw into the Sale line out. Chance for them to strike again.
Change.
No one gets up for Sale. Daft Jenkins is at full extension. And he's got Yendall.
Use it!
To gobble up the loose ball. Woodburn beats O'Flaherty. And Chapman hurriedly seeks out Skinner.
Hand on.
This one's going to hang. And Harvey Skinner is going to feel the full force of Luke James, rides the challenge with strength. Chimbadze. The middle third, the battleground now for both these sides. Woodburn springs it back into the grip of Jenkins. Options right and left, and he doesn't choose either.
Offside line.
Caught in two minds until Ford snared him from behind. Chapman travelling, Jenkins with the last reprieve, finds Woodburn, who takes air on a night where the airspace has been king. A fabulous finish from Ollie Woodburn.
So I have a grounding, so for me on-field try, check and touch please.
Yeah, okay.
Superman. Superman, Ollie Woodburn. They're just looking at it one more time. I can tell you now, fellas, that's a try.
Woody, do you want to come to the screen? We've got a decision. Yep. You can award the try. Yep.
Okay.
It's the moment we've been waiting for Exeter. Kick on the money. Daffy Jenkins, as we've seen 2 or 3 times so far, does his best to butcher it early doors, but keeps hold of the ball. Charlie Chapman just testing the short sides. Great offload, and then Ollie Woodburn. Superman, hit your heart out, and the celebration to boot. You don't celebrate in a game unless you think your team is going to get back into the game and win the game. What a kick from Henry Slade that is as well.
All the big players, all the esteemed Exeter Chiefs stepping up to the plate in a second half that minutes ago felt was drifting beyond their reach. It's a one-score game. It's Sale 26, Exeter 20. Game on in Salford.
Tackle knees! Tackle knees! No, it's not.
Couple of big replacements. Dan Dupree off the field. Tom Burrow wearing 19 for Sale, and George Ford no longer in the game. Marius Lowe. The South African with an enormous 18 minutes to control.
It's a big call to take George Ford off 18 minutes ago. It was probably the plan of him coming back into the Sale shirt after a tough 4 games with England. Rob Dupree switches to 10. Marius Lowe goes to 12. But to take off your main guy in a game that Sale really needs to win. With the game in the balance, it's a big call from Alex Sanderson.
Hammersley takes the sting out of things, and well, Exeter are beginning to win more of those aerial balls. They've been so firmly second best for so much of the night, but now they're reaching high, and that's an enormous clearance from Hammersley. It's going to invite another up and under. And O'Flaherty, with renewed spring in his leap, gets there first.
No.
And Sale build from outside the 22, low, beautiful whip on it to Jabulu, sucks in a couple of defenders where Marcy White is. Bamba looks to get that long right arm free, but opts to hold on. Burrow, the England 20s captain. Oh, but a tiny bit of inaccuracy. And possession passed back to Exeter.
Yeah, probably Rob Dupree's first mistake of the night. He's been flawless up until then.
Yeah, just ask me. I'll give you an
Sale maybe just forcing that a little bit.
Blue 9, yeah.
The ball comes here from Gus Waugh. Cy McIntyre doesn't quite take it. Rob Dupree just takes his eyes off the ball. An easy out for Exeter here. A couple more substitutions.
It's a real shake-up to the half-back pairing. Rob Dupree inserted at fly half now. He's going to have the company of Rafi Quirk now, who's on for Gus Waugh. There are worse replacements to bring on, aren't they, than the richly talented, but in recent times unlucky, Rafi Quirk.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rafi Quirk. This guy's got everything that it takes to play at the very, very top. Unfortunately, last couple of seasons plagued by injuries, just bad luck after bad luck. But this guy's a guy that could come on and to really turn this game, really win this game, drive home the momentum, drive Sale Sharks to victory.
Slade puts some height on it, sends it down the tram lines.
Okay, keep coming, keep coming.
And some tension has just walked through the turnstiles here at the Corpac Stadium.
Keep coming, don't go forward. 19. Thank you.
Slade asks Harvey Skinner to get on his bike and challenge the, to this point, flawless Flaherty. And, well, he may count himself fortunate for that to have been adjudged to have gone back.
Oh, I'd like to have another look at that one. That's a big moment. It looked like it came forward first. Sale get away with it.
There it is.
Exeter just with all the momentum at the minute.
Use it. No.
Great kick.
Woodburn gets his man. Scott Seo.
There is answer.
Chopped down
Inside.
at the lower limb by Calvin Dickey. Head in the spoke stuff.
That's backwards of Exeter and
Roots
again.
there, so too Jenkins. It's in right in the thick of the squabbles over the scraps. Now Yendall. Slade. Oh, maybe him and Ikitau are still developing that wavelength,
Hold.
because he wasn't setting off in anticipation. But now we can get excited. Feiwa Boso, bit of space, bit of broken field, straightens,
Falling.
and Curry makes him a marked man.
Space it, space it.
Oh, brilliant take from Chimpanze. Sit down, says the big Georgian. Yendall, he's brought some real verve to the Exeter pack and carrying, and they win a penalty, and they can send it deep into shark waters.
Exeter just with way more of a spring about the step at the minute, and way more of a confidence. A confidence just to move the ball to those wide channels. And it all started by a loose kick from Sale, found grass. But Manife Webo said that boy is not kicking the ball, he is going to run. And then Exeter just reloaded on the short side, got the ball out wide. A great sit down from that man on your screen there. And Exeter now 6 points down, 12 minutes to play, with all the momentum.
Exeter with 11.5 minutes to show their championship credentials. A wrap around at the front and no way through. Just blue jerseys waiting at the dead end. Hooper has got through a mountain of work tonight. Ikitau. It's been remarked about his quality in close quarters, his ability to pick and go, even though he's a centre. Hooper lends 120 kilos plus to the effort. Sale go offside. Ikitau, head on a swivel. Ups for Zambanin. The Italian can't quite reach. Sio with another advantage. Curry, the culprit again. Sale defending for their lives. And Scott Sio's getting pats on the back, and this could be a try.
Let's go. I've got a grounding. It's short of the line when I get there. Have you got a grounding at all? Okay. They're pretty adamant they've scored it, so we'll just check. On field, no try, and we'll go back to the penalty. So Peter?
Yes, Woody.
I've got the ball short of the line when I get round. Exeter pretty certain they've scored it. Can you just check whether or not they've scored a try? On field, there's no try.
On field, no try yet. We're looking for angles to show a try.
Yeah, that's fine. If not, we'll go back for the penalty advantage.
So Anthony Woodthorpe's got him short on field.
No.
This looks close. From the angle we're seeing here, that looks like the ball
Yeah, I've got two
is
offside.
very, very close to the line.
I'm going to speak to them.
Ball down there, he can place it once. That is a try. Brilliant from Scott Sio.
Just get one last angle, Woody.
Pardon? Is there advantage? Yes. Yeah, I'm going to have to speak to you about it as well. 2 offside penalties and 2 not rolling away. He keeps his foot, leg on the ball.
That's as clear as day.
So
We'd like to see the referees give this.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have got clear evidence of the ball on the line, so a try has been scored.
Okay, so you've clearly got the ball on the line, so we can award the try.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but
Scott Sio. He's just helped Samoa qualify for the Rugby World Cup in Dubai, and in slightly cooler conditions in Salford, his try has presented Henry Slade with an opportunity to take the lead.
My Barbarians teammate, Scott Sio. One of the great boys. One of the great guys to have around a team. All of his experience, all of his Australian international experience, bringing it to the Chiefs. What a try that is for the team. Oh, and what a kick again from Henry Slade.
Cometh the hour, cometh the Slade. From 20 points down, the Chiefs now lead the Sharks by 1. With 9 grandstand minutes for us to sit back and savour.
Brilliant from Exeter Chiefs. They found their way back into this game. Got to put it down a little bit to Jack Yendall. Jack Yendall's come on. Their big boys have stood up. Yendall, Dafford Jenkins, and then they go and do that. the cardinal sin. You score a try, you haven't scored the try until you exit.
What is it about professional rugby teams and kickoffs after they've scored? We hear it all the time, but it is just a recurring nightmare for any team around the planet.
I have to give the second rowers a bit of credit here, because it is probably one of the hardest skills you can do as a rugby player. You've got a ball moving very fast in the air, you've got to judge the timing, you've got to get your props in the right positions to give you the correct lift and catch the ball catch the ball above your head. It's a really tough skill, but they get paid a lot of money, Joe, and I think they should be better at it.
Proper northern hospitality. It's something that Alex Sanderson has extolled all week, all season. Well, his Sale Sharks, these supporters, they need a bit of proper northern passion now to dig these Sharks out of a hole. Van Rijn. There's just so much spice in every contact now. And low.
No.
Jabulu. Bamba really fronted up in this second half. Exeter looking for the steal, but instead they get a mighty clear out. Jabulu engages two Chiefs' shoulders. Dupree, Marcy White, Slade, Woodburn have him wrapped up, but the tackle's there. Van Rijn. Low, just almost slips it through, and there's the faintest knock on, or is there?
Advantage over.
The advantage was for Exeter. The 50-22's on. It's going to take some tumble to get there.
Inside.
And it needs a more sluggish scrum half than Rafi Quirk, who twists Henry Slade into a pretzel.
No hands! Onside!
What has happened to this game? This game has just come alive, absolutely, completely come alive. Exeter were absolutely out of it. And now they've got all the momentum. Rafi Quirk did brilliantly there from a really tough position. Great kick from Harvey Skinner. I criticised him earlier for a couple of his tactical kicks, but that was brilliant. And Sale now running it from deep. Here we go, this game's come.
Truly to life. Luke James, Skinner launches himself at the ankles. Larry Slow looks a real box of tricks, doesn't he? He's brought some life to the Sale backline. Assisted Luke James in a late try at Welford Road, as they missed out narrowly to Tigers before the international break. It'll be the same story here if the scoreboard stays the same. Hammersley off the shoulder, and Sale with 5 minutes to turn it around. Wills climbing highest, hoovered up by Henry.
No hands now, Exeter.
That's your best line.
Thank you. Use it. Yep.
Well, no chief putting an authoritative name on that, and suddenly the aerial battle's falling the way of the Sharks. O'Flaherty has led that discipline, and looking for Curry, can only find the touchline, but this is the area of the field that Sale want to be playing in.
Yeah, he looks a little bit disappointed with himself. He probably wants the ball just to stay in, to force Exeter to either exit from a tough position or take the ball out themselves to give Sale the liner. But I don't think that's a bad play. They've got a man down in the backfield. They've moved the ball to space. There's still plenty of time left in this game, 4 minutes still. Exeter have got to exit from just outside the 22, which is sometimes one of the toughest places to exit from, because you don't have the luxury of being able to kick straight off. It'll have to be a contestable kick, or they're going to have to go really long Sale with a couple of players down here at the minute. And it's Icky Tao for Exeter, who's just getting back to his feet. But game on, 4 minutes to play.
And right there, in the thick of things, destined to be an 80-minute man, is Luke Cowan-Dickie.
On the edge here, we're outside. Yes.
Unbelievable shift again from Luke Cowan-Dickie. His fitness levels have gone to new heights.
Come to the
He's
line.
got himself
Mark is
fit
outside.
physically. He's had a very bad problem with his shoulder the last couple of years, which caused him to miss quite a lot of rugby.
Take a big step. Take a big
Made the
step.
trip
Come
up to
the line.
Sale.
You're on
He's
the
found
line.
this his
In
home.
the middle. We're outside. Bring it in.
Much more settled, happy man at the moment, and you can see it with his rugby.
Zambanin, Fissalau. Looks to drive through the hole, but Cowan-Dickie clings on. Less than 3.5 minutes ago, Woodburn and O'Flaherty collide mid-air once more, and again Jenkins.
Use it.
It has been a tour de force from the Exeter captain
And use it.
in terms of getting down and dirty, feeding on those scraps. And he's in and amongst the effort again. A hand comes in, Rafi Quirk is waiting, but it's gone forward from O'Flaherty.
Yeah, touched by white, so then blue player, so scrum.
So it's a scrum. Hold on, no, knock on by blue into white, so it's just a scrum. Here we go. Yeah, not offside.
Thought he was
Knock on by blue
he was
into white.
about to get a lot of stick from the crowd there.
Correction into white then.
But yeah, great comms there from the referee and the assistant. Got it slightly wrong to start with. They stayed calm, explained it properly. It's a knock on by blue. Exeter scrum. Great kick again from Charlie Chapman. Exeter's kicking has been brilliant in these last 25 minutes. Just give themselves opportunities to get the ball back, but also gain some territory. 2 minutes, 11 seconds on the clock here now. Who wants it more?
Exeter haven't beaten Sale Sharks in the Premiership since October 2023. That down at Sandy Park. Northern triumphs are so much more cherished, so much rarer.
Use it.
And they're on the brink here.
Thank you, Mike. Not over the top, Tom, no. And use it.
O'Flaherty underneath it, and Exeter gobbling up the loose ball again. The slenderest of margins that they lead on the scoreboard, from 20 points down. 21 points scored without reply.
Step. Yeah.
They've gone to the well.
Ball's out. No hands. Step. 7.
And now they will just pick and go and look to erode this game clock. Shumbadze. Biggest game of his Chiefs career. Yendel's been here so many times. Sale just can't get anywhere near it.
It's so frustrating as a defensive team here.
Tackle, let it go. No, 7.
You almost want to go for the soak tackle to let someone like a Curry or a Cowan-Dickie have a chance to get over the ball.
And use it.
But these Exeter forwards in the last 25-30 minutes have been absolutely brilliant. This is going to be a massive win for the Chiefs. One more ruck.
Rob Baxter spoke about this as being the litmus test to relish coming up to Salford to find out what this team is all about. And Exeter Chiefs have just completed the extraordinary. From 20 points down, they have come back to storm the Northern Fort. A first victory in Salford for more than 4 years for this young side who went through so much pain last season. A season-defining, a group-defining night at the Corpac Stadium for Exeter Chiefs. And will this performance echo into the playoffs, into something bigger, come the conclusion of this Gallagher PREM season?